Maras News. Today we're here in Fujairah, covering exclusively as the special maritime media for the Fujairah Intelligence Market Forum, where key industry decision makers are gathering today for an interesting roundtable about the future of IMO 2020 and its impact on the ship owners. I'm glad today to have His Excellency Khamis Juma Bouameim, the CEO, board member and managing director of Gulf Navigation Holding, in order to tell us his opinion more about the future of the shipping industry, especially after the IMO new regulations. Thank you, Mr. Khamis, for being with us in Maras News. So today we would like to know more about the impact, from a ship owner perspective, the impact of the IMO 2020 regulations on the ship owners and to what extent they are ready to comply with these regulations.
Thank you. The truth is the IMO regulation put the shipping industry on a catch 2020. In one side, whether we comply or we use different fuels which is not available largely in the market at this given time. Many companies, of course, at a wait-and-see process. We decided we're going to start our process of actually fitting scrubbers at Gulf Navigation. It's very costly. It's time-consuming. As you would appreciate, because the market rates, charter rate are low, it's very expensive to understand when your investment you regain back your investment. And this is a quite drastic change will happen in the industry. For a fact, I know many ship owners, they declined from potentially having the scrubbers and they will wait and see. But nevertheless, I think something will happen. It has to happen by 2020, and there is no change on this regulation. But nevertheless, I think it's a costly process at this given time.
Interesting. From your perspective, what would be the challenges? And of course, since you started this complying with the IMO, what are the challenges that you faced and the other challenges that the industry makers are facing to complying with the new regulations?
I think one of them is the funnel changes, what you need to do to the funnel, to your also the processes of the piping, and you need to take the ship to dry docking, of course. The problem is all of these are quite significantly game changer for the ship owner, and when it crippled with the industry in a downtrend rather than uptrend. So these challenges will always there. Part of them, of course, financial, part of them technical, part of them even will be, will this work and how good it's going to be? Does it meet all what they're supposed to do? And of course, maintenance of these scrubbers plus all the new piping and so on and so on.
Luckily, Gulf Navigation recently announced about being the first and the only Arab shipping company to comply with the regulations and to do the environmental retrofit for the vessels. So, especially the new fleet that you are even acquiring very soon. So, tell us more about it. What did encourage you to take the initiative to save the environment and to comply as a beginning to the IMO?
From inception, we decided that we're going to be totally friendly to the environment, especially whether it's air emission side or overboard water ballast and so on. But nevertheless, we have to be also logical. If many of the ship owners is not going that route, you could be the only one who's swimming against the tide. At this moment, however, it's a strategic decision. It's worth the money spent, in my point of view. But however, as I said, hopefully this will create the required future potential for the company, i.e. from being compliant in one hand and in the other also able to make it cheaper for our charterers, because it's important. As you know, oil in the oil industry, we're still looking for will the new sulfur 0.5 sulfur be available in the market, and how, where, and at what cost, and so on. So it's all a challenging thought process for the future.
Speaking about the 0.00 percentage imposed by the IMO, do you think this is realistic? Because we have heard a lot from a lot of ship owners in the industry that this is like cannot happen easily, especially right now with the current market situation. How do you react on this?
I think it's they should have did it in stages from 3.5 and took it in stages rather than drastic like this. But of course, it's unfortunate the decision is made. The drivers of this change or this decision cannot be the industry. It's not healthy. It's not in the benefit of the industry. Maybe it's in the benefit of certain people who will gain out of this from what they will produce to comply. So, but nevertheless, I think it's unfortunate, and we need to comply with it. Otherwise, the world will just come to a halt if the shipping industry decided we cannot comply, and it's a problematic thing and very costly process to go through. But nevertheless, I think we hope that the refineries will start the process and be ready by then.
Port of Fujairah is considered as the second largest bunkering hub in the region. So, speaking about the port operations today, I have with me Captain Musa Murad, the director of Port of Fujairah, in order to tell me more about the progress of the port and its compliance with smart technology. Thank you, Captain Musa, for being with us in Marathi News. So, as I mentioned, Port of Fujairah is considered as the second largest bunkering hub, and we're hearing today about the progress of the port and to what extent the port now is leading to an international even level. So, I would like you to tell us more in Marathi News TV about the port and its operations and its extent in the market as well.
Yeah, I think thank you very much, of course, about the port and our location. So our location has forced us to do this sort of maritime sort of global maritime services since 1980. I mean, we started with 370 meters of the quay. Today is more than 6 kilometers of the quay. The same thing when you go to the draft of the port, we started 10.5 to 11. Today, more than 26 meters of the. That means you're dealing with a big VLCC. So the only thing we changed, we are focusing on oil and gas and bunkering, as you mentioned, with the second wording, and focusing in the storage. During 2010, when Habshan, Abu Dhabi Habshan Fujairah line started, this is the big change and jump is coming to Fujairah port, and this is where most of the companies establish big storage for product, hoping in the near future to deal with the crude. So the infrastructure is big. The instruction we have from our leader that always be advanced of the market. So today we are more than 30% advanced. So this is the way we are, the challenge for us.
And Captain Musa, what is the contribution of the Port of Fujairah to lead the UAE towards being a maritime hub, a worldwide maritime hub?
Today, it's a good question. Today, every port is playing a role. For example, if you go to Abu Dhabi, they're playing a role as an industrial import, export, and container. Port of Dubai also they're doing, but mostly focusing on the container. But here we are focusing on oil and gas. So every port, so we are not competing each other. We are just complementary to each other. That's right. So this is the advantage that we are making to the UAE at the global.
And since you have mentioned a lot of progress and landmark achievements for the port, I would like you to highlight the major landmark achievements and significant progress of the recent significant project of the Fujairah port in 2018.
That's what I'm telling you. We're focusing on oil and gas. When we started as bunkers, as I mentioned, so bunkering and storage in that time in the 80s, we were dealing about a capacity of 2 million. Today, we are more than 10 million capacity. And what we're hearing is coming more, especially with a new cooperation with Abu Dhabi ADNOC, what's happening in Ruwais, how can they utilize the location of Fujairah. This is, I think, the new big cooperation will happen in the coming years. Today, the other thing also we are dealing, that is how UAE played a main role in IMO. Today is the Ministry of Energy and Ministry of Transport is the big player in IMO, International Maritime Organization. So whichever regulation is going to implement, we are all we are going to implement that one, especially the low server 0.5 that's going to be implemented by 2020. So it's a matter of availability. Are going to be available the low server or going to be available gas? This is where we are going to working very closely how we can help the global to do this silver protection.
You just led me to the second question, which is about the IMO regulations and EU recycling regulations in terms of the low sulfur and BMW system. I'd like to know more, and also our audience would like to know more about the readability of Fujairah Port to comply with this BMW and EU recycling regulations.
This is one of the sessions today in the Gulf Intelligence, and we are the Port of Fujairah playing the big role is how you're going to implement that. Of course, Port of Fujairah, as I told you, with the cooperation of Ministry of Energy and Ministry of Transport, we are going to implement that one. But in my point of view, that is maybe going to be a little bit of flexibility within 1 or 2 years, because we don't know are this material oil is going to be available, low server and gas oil. We don't know. Plus the sanction, what will happen, the sanction with Iran, all depends about the availability of this low silver. If it's available, then we're going to implement that.
And finally, Captain Musa, from your opinion, also as expert also in the market, how does Port of Fujairah manage to maintain its excellence within the MENA region as a port?
I think
is it like a challenges you have been facing to do this, or like how did you manage to really excel in the market?
I think we done it differently. If you go what is happening on the business view on the oil and gas in Singapore and what's happening in Rotterdam and Fujairah, we completely different scenario we implemented here. What we do here, we at the government or port, we provide a facility, cranes, the bearsage, handling, and the company, they will do only the main infrastructure of the tanks. So this theory is really workable for Fujairah. What we are going to do in coming years, today we feel that is enough products in this area. So what we are supporting now, crude. Crude is very important, right? And this is the thing, the market is also is trending toward the crude. So if the crude pick up, then is going to be big jump for Fujairah.